Rockets, 2 MVPs in the court tonight at 8:30 in Houston. Now, Russell Westbrook could tie Wilt Chamberlain with his 9th straight triple, 9 in a row for Russell Westbrook. Look at if he gets there.
Chris, how old are you?
I'm 37.
So tell to all of your aides to make sure they go Google Wilt and look at his numbers so you put everything in perspective.
Yeah, you can see him doing a high jump, all of that stuff. It's all available to this generation.
This is why people have to understand, as much as we love Mike, all of our great players that ever played our game, when you look at Wilt's numbers, you go, ooh, woo.
Talk about
So is Westbrook going to get there tonight or what?
Yeah, of course.
You say it like, oh, it's just a triple-double. Of course he's going to do it.
This is our new generation. Once again, he's playing with Paul George. He's playing with Steven Adams. He has teammates that understand the way he plays, how he plays, and the system fits it.
You mentioned Paul George. Check this out. In his last 10 games, the Thunder, by the way, 9-1 in those 10 games. Paul George averaging 34 points per game. Have they figured this thing out with Westbrook and PG? Do they have their roles defined? Caron, you play with Westbrook. Trying to find a defined role as a scorer is not the easiest thing in the world, but it seems like they figured this out.
Listen, I think Russell Westbrook is doing a remarkable job. You know, nothing short of amazing with taking a step back and allowing Paul George to be extremely aggressive as the #1 option. And then also, he doesn't get enough credit. We talk about this is his 3rd season in a row. And this brother's out there averaging a triple-double. And we always talk about, well, he's not this or he's not that. Let me tell you what he is. He's a winner. And he's a guy that recognizes some of the things that he can be better at. And he's took a step back this offseason, was able to do an excellent job of recruiting, keeping Paul George in Oklahoma, and then now putting him in the front and saying, look, you're the guy, I'll play off of you, and he's doing it. Now, he's not shooting the ball like he, should be shooting the basketball, but I think he's going to get better. Has some ailments early, injuries and stuff like that, but he's looking amazing, man, and I just don't think he get enough credit.
And I think he's learned from the past, to your point, Tough Juice, that let's just call it where, he, KD, and James Harden all on the team at one point in time as youngsters. So now he can reflect on those days and say, wow, I have another opportunity to play with an MVP-type talent in Paul George. And Paul George is one of the best two-way guys in our league along with him and Kawhi Leonard. So I think Russell has really learned from those mistakes in the past and said, you know what, I'm not shooting the ball well, but I can still go rebound, I can still defend, and I can still share. And still, until I figure out and get healthy 100%, I know my shooting percentage will eventually catch up with it. But everything else, I can affect the game and still help Paul George be what he is right now today.
Now, we just want to make sure you remain calm because we have another Wilt Chamberlain graphic.
Let's do it.
Involving the bearded one. That's right, James Harden in this streak.
Good, great.
Look at this. Players that average 36 points over a season. Wilt Chamberlain did it 5 times. There's only 3 names on this list.
So y'all keep saying who this, what GOAT, and what GOAT is this. Man, y'all better go on somewhere.
So James Harden, is he going to finish this season out averaging over 36, joining this elite company?
Yes. 1, he has to. 2, the way the system is built around him with D'Antoni, his teammates understand it now. We always talk about it, ex-players. It's hard to play with somebody that's, the usage rates, and he hasn't been assisted on the basket almost 316 times at one game. It's like, that's crazy. But they're still winning. And I think that's the key to why we're all starting to say, okay, we're going to sit back and enjoy the show because they're still winning.
Man, he's balling. He introducing guys to hip-hop every night on that perimeter. He got drip for sale all out there. But I'll tell you what, I think that his number is going to be at like 34. Only because Chris Paul is starting to reinsert himself, and the ball's going to be in his hand a ton. You're going to try to get Amon Shumpert acclimated to the system and other guys. So I think the production will go down just a tad, but he's still going to be at like 34, 35.
Yeah, Chris Paul back the last 5 games playing over 30 minutes, and his numbers seem to be right what we expect from Chris Paul with this team.
Which may be needed because we've all talked about in our meetings and talked about all around social media that, James Harden has done this the last couple years, so it's not new. The question is, can he do this late May, early June to say, now I'm at the promised land. I know how far I can get us, do I have enough energy left, and can this guy right there help him?
We just said that Russell Westbrook did a remarkable job of kind of stepping back a little bit, allowing Paul George to do something different.
Right.
I think that with James Harden, something different is going to have to tweak just a little for them to advance a little farther and where they want to go.
Rockets were very active before the trade deadline. We know what Kenneth Faried has been to this team
Energy,
already.
man,
But
perfect.
Iman Shumpert, here's a guy who played just 14 games last season,
I love him.
started 40 so far this season for the Kings. He's healthy, back on the court. I know he's only 6'4", but he's playing small forward for them. What does he bring to the table right now for Houston, 3D?
First thing that comes to mind is his toughness, the defensive-minded guy, and he can guard probably 1, 2, 3, depending on the size. And he's a champion, Tough Juice, so you know you're a champion that when you get that deep in the playoffs, it's always good when a coach can look down the bench and say, his eyes don't look like he's caught deer in the headlights. Let's put him in the game. He's been there before. So the Rockets want to get back, obviously give another opportunity to play against the Warriors. He's done that and beat the Warriors.
When I think of Iman Shumpert and what he brings to this ball club, 3D, you touched on it, insurance, but most importantly, experience, and he's so reliable as a veteran guy that when you look down that bench, it's somebody that's battle-tested. He can go out there and perform at an amazing clip, not missing a beat, and insert himself immediately with that ball club.
Certainly a game we're going to be excited to see what happens between the Houston Rockets and the Oklahoma